Hello, my dear learners. Good evening to you all. Once again, I'm here with a series Literary Devices. This is Jahar sir, and welcome you all on my channel English with Jahar sir. Dear friends, today we are going to discuss some important literary devices which are often used by the poets, by the authors in their writings, and these devices are going to be helpful not only for the competitive examinations but for the academic examinations as well. So, now without wasting any time, let's get started today's lesson. First of all, we will talk about meaning and function of literary devices. So commonly the term literary devices refers to the typical structures used by the writers in their works to convey his or her message or messages in a simple manner to his or her readers. We are here with two kinds of literary devices, the literary elements first. They have an inherent existence in literary piece. Literary piece here means the literary work, and are extensively employed by writers to develop a literary piece, that is, a literary work, or the part of a literary work like plot, setting, narrative structures, characters, mood, theme, moral, etc. And the second, here comes literary techniques, and they are actually structures, usually a word in the form of a word or in the form of a phrase. In literary text, like poems, like drama, the writers employ or use to achieve not merely artistic ends, but also readers a great understanding and appreciation of their literary works, such as they are very popular literary devices: metaphor, simile, alliteration, hyperbole, allegory, and there are some others. And in simple words, we name them as figure of speech. Okay? Figure of speech. So these are the figures of speech which are used mostly by the poets and the authors in their literary text, in their writings. So now the thing is clear, the two kinds of literary devices. One is literary elements, they are the literary elements, and they are the literary techniques and the figures of speech. The function, if you look at the function of literary device, then you should keep in your mind this is a function to give meanings and a logical framework to their works through language. Okay, so they impart meaning or meanings, multiple meanings. At the same time, they also impart a logical framework to the text or to the work that is composed by author or by writer. Another function is beautifying the piece of literature. Okay, but also give deeper meanings to it, testing the very understanding of the readers along with providing them enjoyment of reading. So actually beauty, okay, and beauty imparts pleasure. Okay. So first, beauty is created in the piece of literature with the help of these literary devices, and when the expression is beautified, the readers gain pleasure out of it. Besides, they help motivating readers' imagination to visualize the characters and scenes more clearly. So, imagination, you know, imagination is the most important part of literature. Okay, literature. So, to enhance imagination, we often use literary devices and the figures of speech. So now the function is also clear. Now let's move ahead and we come to the very first literary device, very popular and very beautiful and universally used, not only by the writers, authors, but also by the common people in their day-to-day life. So now let's first find out the definition of simile. The most important aspect of simile is comparison. So this is a figure of speech based on comparison. It makes comparison showing similarities between two different objects. Okay, this looks somewhat contrasting, but this is the main part of this figure of speech. Two different objects. Okay, now that means object A, object B. If you look at them outwardly, they are different, poles apart. Okay, but there is always C element which is shared by both equally, and this becomes the point of comparison. Okay, point of comparison. So two dissimilar objects are compared together on the basis of some similar elements between them. Unlike metaphor that we will study further, a simile draws resemblance. Okay, resemblance means external appearance with the help of the word like and the words as. These are the two important words with the help of which you can identify this figure of speech anywhere or in any text, in any poem or in any dramatic lines. And therefore, this is explicit or direct comparison. Why? Because when you find the words like or as, okay, the comparison is clearly visible. Clearly visible. So it is called explicit comparison. Okay, direct comparison. We can find similar examples in a daily speech as well. We often hear comments like John is as slow as a snail. Okay. Now, which are the two different objects here, John. Okay, first is John, and second is snail. Okay, now look at, both are poles apart, both are different. One is the human being, another is animal, right? But still there is a one similarity between them which is shared equally, and the similarity is slowness. Slowness. This is the similar elements between them. And this is shared by both John as well as Snail. And just because of this slowness, the comparison has been possible. Suppose if this element has not been there, then we would not have been able to compare John with Snail. So, snails are notorious for their slow pace, speed, and here the slowness of John is compared to that of a snail. And the use of edge, I told you the edge or light. So, in example, helps to draw the resemblance. So, this is the initial example in order to make you understand what actually simile is. And now I think you must have got some idea about simile. Now, we go ahead. Some examples now. Soldiers are as brave as lions. Now, two elements or two objects or two parties, soldiers and second is lion, right? Both are different. One is human, another is animal, right? Still, they are being compared. Why? Just because of one common elements or common feature or common characteristic between them, and that is bravery. Okay, so bravery is the common feature between them, and just because of this common feature, the comparison has been possible. Okay, and to spot and find out simile is very easy. Why? Because we are using X. Her cheeks are red like rose. Now here the word is like. Okay, and now two elements or two parts. One is cheeks and second is rose. Okay, then what is common here? Reddish, reddish glow. Okay, glow color. That is the common elements between them. He's as funny as a monkey. The water well was as dry as bone. Now here, water well and bone. Okay, these are the two elements. Both are different. One hand we are talking, we are speaking of water well, and the another we are speaking of bone. Okay, and now the what is the common feature or common elements? Common feature is dryness. You know the bone of the animal, when it comes out of the body, it becomes dried. Okay, there is no moisture. There is no moisture. And similarly, when the well runs out of water, and when there is no water in the well, then the condition of the well is also just like before. Okay, so these are the common examples, simple examples uh, of simile, which we can also use in our day-to-day life. Now there is a note, simile inputs vividness, clarity into what we say. Okay, authors and poets utilize comparisons to convey their sentiments and thoughts through vivid word pictures like simile. Okay, so that is images are created. Images are created. Word pictures are created, and these images and pictures always help the readers to understand the meaning of what the author and poets are supposed to convey or to express through these lines. So, in this way, I think that you must have understood simile. Now, we move to the literary examples of simile. Now, first example comes from Robert Burns. Okay, Robert Burns has a beautiful poem, and out of the poem, I have taken a stanza for you to make you understand simile. Oh my love, like a red. Oh my love, like the melody. Now, so in these two lines, we are observing simile. Okay, how it is simile? Now, let me explain it. My love, that is beloved. Okay, so one is beloved and another is rose. Now, what is common feature? Red. And red, I have already told you, glow. Okay, glow. So that's the glow or the reddish glow which the poet finds in a red rose, the same kind of beautiful reddish glow the poet also observes in the face of his beloved. And similarly, like the melody, that is music, the voice of the beloved is so melodious as the music or the tune which is played in the month which is played. So that is there is a similarity of musical voice or voice. So say that his beloved is a fresh red rose that blooms in the spring. So beloved, the beauty of the beloved has been compared with the beauty of a fresh red rose. A beautiful stanza from a beautiful poem, and friends, this stanza is often asked in competitive examinations. Okay, so be careful. You might also get this stanza in your question paper. Another example I have taken from Daffodils. Again, a beautiful poem by William Wordsworth. And the very first line of the poem, I wandered lonely as a cloud. Now see the imagery. I I here means poet, Wordsworth, okay? And the second element is cloud, a patch of cloud, okay? So you must have seen during a monsoon season, the patch of cloud seems to be moving in the sky alone. And similarly, the poet is also moving alone in amidst the world of nature. Okay, so there is a loneliness. That is the common feature between them two. And this is being shared by the poet and the cloud. The poet envisions himself as a free cloud, okay, free lone cloud that floats in a blue sky over valleys and mountains. This simply describes the poet's loneliness, right? So that is the loneliness has been shared by the poet and the cloud, and that's why the comparison is possible. It is not that simile is employed only in poetry. Okay, we should also be mindful of this fact. We find the use of simile even in novels, prose writings to make it more expressive. Okay, so if you have the question that why is simile used, then you can say that the simile is used to make a writing more expressive. Sorry. So, so one thing is clear that simile uh, is not used exclusively in poetry, okay, but we can also find the use of simile in novels and in prose writings. And why do the poets use it or writers use it? To make their writing more expressive, more beautiful, more meaningful. Okay, so this is all about a simile, and I'm sure that you must have understood. it fully. Now, prose example of the simile novel, and this the lines have been taken from Lord Jim by Joseph Conrad. I would have given anything for the power to soothe a frail soul, tormenting itself in its invincible ignorance like a small bird. Now, see, like a small bird, beating about the cruel wires of a cage. So this is use of simile. So now the thing is clear that even the novelists also use simile to make their writings more expressive, more beautiful. And what is the common part here between the writer, that is the novelist, and the character of this novel, okay, and the bird, ensnared bird. And the common feature is helplessness. Okay, helplessness. Now, see, the helplessness of the soul has been compared with a bird in a cage beating itself against the merciless wires of the cage to be free. So, the helpless soul or the helpless character, okay, is struggling against the limitations and the boundaries in the same way as a bird, when ensnared, struggles hard to get itself free from the cage, wires of the cage. So it's a very beautiful simile used in prose, used in novel by Joseph Conrad. You know, so this is all about simile, and I'm sure you must have understood. And when you will study it, you also try to find examples of similes in your poems, whichever you are reading. जो भी टेक्स्ट पोयम्स आप पढ़ रहे हो, इसके अकॉर्डिंग आप उसमें सिमिली को फाइंड आउट करने का प्रयास करें, और जितना ज़्यादा प्रयास करोगे इसको प्रैक्टिकली, उतना ही ज़्यादा आप इसको समझ पाओगे। अदरवाइज इसके जितने भी नुआंसेज हैं, टर्मिनोलॉजीज हैं, वो मैंने इसमें पूरा बताने का प्रयास किया है। आप इसको एक बार फिर अ, करें, इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले लें, और फिर अपनी पोएम्स जो भी आप पढ़ रहे हैं, आपके सिलेबस में जो भी पोएम्स हैं, उनमें आप इस तरीके से सिमिली को फाइंड आउट करने का प्रयास करें। सो this is all for now, and we will see you again in our next video, and I will continue this series of literary device, and next we will come to metaphor. And till then, take care of yourself and subscribe the channel and share the video to as many learners as you can to spread the light of knowledge. Thank you.